Hello, everyone. Katie Ganderton here, also known as Tenacious Kate, and your host of this podcast. This podcast is about being tenacious in all aspects of our lives, and there is nowhere else I would rather be. I have left my full-time career as a dental hygienist to become a stay-at-home mom with multiple. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rise with Tenacity podcast. My name is Katie Ganderton, also known as Tenacious Kate, and you guys get me today. And so I'm excited to talk about our topic today. I've had a lot going on personally in my own life and business. And, this topic couldn't be more fitting for not only, what I've experienced and have seen in our industry of direct sales or network marketing, but I'm seeing it kind of all across the board with people. And the topic today is the power of a shift when you have done all you can do. And I feel like this could be a loaded topic, right? So this could definitely go a multitude of ways. But the way I want to approach this topic with you is talking about, where you are, how you're feeling. And a lot of the time we talk about, gosh, I've been in this business and let me back up really quick. This doesn't even have to pertain necessarily to just the industry of network marketing. This can really stretch across any business, any sort of entrepreneurship, even if you're not in as an entrepreneur and you are maybe working for something or a company or whatever, maybe you're on the corporate side of things. This goes for you as well. This is not just solely a network marketing thing. That just happens to be the profession that I'm in, and that I love. I have been a franchise owner. I have been in corporate America. So I've seen all sides of it. And this topic really pertains to any of these, aspects of business. And so the power of a shift when you have done all you can do. I want you to think about your thoughts, and I want you to think about how you've been talking to yourself lately. Is it something that you notice like, gosh, I'm not motivated, or I'm lacking motivation, right? Typically, that might be kind of a stem of emotion, right? So when we think even further into that piece, what else are we talking to about ourselves? And I'm bringing this to you guys because these are the things that I experienced myself and that I went through, and I had to actually pull myself back a little bit and say, hang on a second here, and some of the things that came up for me was, what's wrong with me, right? What am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? I used to sentences that I used to, be so excited to show up. I used to be so motivated, such energy, such the attitude was different. I used to be happy when I was doing things, or I used to, be all in to the point where it was like, oh my gosh, like I just was so excited and I loved what I did. Right. So that again brings us back to the feeling of like, okay, what's wrong with me? And I don't think that it's anything that's necessarily wrong with you as an individual. We have to pull ourselves back. And through some of the conversations I've had, I've noticed that this is definitely a common theme with people. They feel as if they're not doing enough, as if they're not pouring in enough, as if they're not adding enough value, even though they still show up. They still show up, they're still going through the motions, right? But something has changed, something has shifted. And that's where we're talking about the topic today. So as I went through some of those things, if that's you and you're listening and you're like, okay, hold on a second here. You're hitting a nail on the head, or you're speaking right to me, this is for you. This is definitely a great podcast for you to listen to. If you're like, I'm good, I got this, like, that's amazing, because I've been on both sides. I have been in the, on the side of super motivated, showing up in love with what I was doing, super passionate about it and enjoying it and really craving it, because I was really enjoying what I was building and serving people to the point where I wasn't, and I wasn't able to feel like I was serving people. I wasn't feeling like I was giving my all. I wasn't feeling like I was, showing up like I used to show up. And now, and then back to, oh my gosh, I'm so excited again. I'm having such a great time. I'm enjoying showing up. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And a fire, like my flame's been reignited. So I've gone from it to away from it, then back to it. So that's why I want to talk on this topic, because I know there's people that are stuck in this piece of, I feel this way. I don't know why. And sometimes we think it's something that we are doing ourselves and that it's something wrong with us. And I just want you to say it's not necessarily the case. Sorry, I've got my fuzzy friends here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I've got my 3 pups hanging around. He might start snoring, you never know. But yes, I love my puppies. So let's talk about why you need to pull yourself back a little bit and how you can look at this from a different perspective. And so we need to, instead of looking at just you as an individual, because we are our worst critics, correct? And so when we're talking about how we're showing up, people don't ever want to be a failure, right? You don't ever want to necessarily be like, yes, I'm going to go fail at this. Even though failure is how we grow, we never want, like, we don't like that feeling, right? Of not being enough, people feeling like we're not, like feeling like we're being judged, feeling like we're not doing enough. Like we don't like that feeling. That's normal, right? But I think sometimes we also don't pull ourselves back and say, okay, hang on a second. Let me look at this entire situation as a whole. And let's see what other factors are playing part in what we're doing, right? So we often, look just microscope on our own actions and not looking at things as an entirety as a whole of other factors that could be affecting how you're showing up and what that looks like. And so that's what I want you to do. If you're stuck in this position and you're going, gosh, I feel this way, and I feel like it's all me. And even you still might be showing up that way. I was still showing up, right? I just could feel it inside that I wasn't bringing my whole self to it. And so as I started to pull myself back, that's when I started to notice some different things that were affecting me. And I want you to pull yourself back a little bit and say, okay, what's the situation that I'm in? Why am I feeling this way? And, okay, am I doing all that I can do to show up, to be and performing and, doing the things that the things that you were doing in the past? Are you still doing many of those things today? And if that emotion has changed, then there's something else that has had an effect, and that's having an outside influence on your internal emotions, right? And so often we look at, okay, what are the behaviors that are coming into that? Are there people that are influencing, those things? How about the maybe it's customers? Are customers influencing how you're feeling? Maybe you got like one rotten customer and you're like, oh my gosh, like this person has just really affected you and really offended you in some way. It can happen, or maybe you're thinking, gosh, maybe it's something at corporate. Has something at corporate, are there factors that are coming from there? Are there things that they might be doing or not doing that are playing a role on how you're showing up, right? And so when you look at all of the different factors, you can definitely see most likely it's not all you. And based on some of the conversations I've had with some amazing people lately, I think having that perspective of saying, no, it's not all you. Let's talk about some of these other factors that are in place. And you can almost feel a change in their voice, almost like a thank you so much, or wow, I didn't think about it that way. Because again, we are our worst critic, and we couldn't imagine that something else is having such an impact on us, right? But yet we forget that we are, just this little person in a grand world that is full of life events, that's full of all sorts of moving pieces, and it's like a puzzle. So that's my advice to you, is to look at what's the scenario that you're in, and then how are you able to pull yourself back and say, okay, what is the situation? How long has the situation been going on? What are some of the factors that are, creating this uneasiness within myself? And then once you can identify those things, you're able to say, okay, wow, now what do I want to do about it? And that's the piece where we talk about the power of a shift. And, if you've done everything that you can do, so when we get to identifying these things that are having an effect on you, okay, what do you do with them? Have you communicated? You can communicate that with somebody. You can talk to a leader. You can talk to the corporate team. You can reach out if it's a customer, and obviously you want to have empathy. You want to make sure that you communicate effectively, and but maybe coming to the customer and saying, hey, like, I just want to touch base with you. I felt like our last interaction just didn't go as well as planned. I just want to make sure that we are clear on all of, A, B, and C, and I'm here to support you. And, if that's the way that you want to go, if it's something where you're like, no, we do not mix at all, that's okay too, because not everybody mixes. And so that's an easy conversation as well. And it's a hard conversation, and hard conversations are hard to have. So what does that even look like, right? It looks like, hey, I know our last interaction didn't go as planned. I feel like I've tried to do the best that I can to serve you. And I would love to continue serving you, but I do understand if moving forward with someone else works better for you, right? It lets it kind of go amicably without having tension with you, obviously kind of like putting that ball back in their court, and being able for you to be able to move forward. The goal is for you to be able to move forward. And a lot of times when we feel stuck and we feel frustration and we feel anger and we feel hurt and we have these emotions of not motivated, not enough, all of these things, we tend to freeze. We tend to not do enough because it gets into our mindset, it gets into our hearts, and we tend to not show up as fully as we can, right? And so the goal is for you to be able to move yourself forward, and that's what you want. And so when we are shifting, you can shift at any time that you want. And I almost want to say, here's your permission, because I've had people that have said, gosh, I feel like I couldn't leave, or I feel like I don't have permission to leave. And it's like, if it's not creating joy, if you're not serving somebody in some way, shape, or form, if it's creating more frustration, and tension at home, or if it's something that is just honestly, that you're not happy in, and you're just going through the motions for the fear of someone else thinking something or saying something, is that worth it to you? Is that worth that, your sanity, your mindset, your emotional health? Absolutely not. And so you have the power to shift at any time that you see fit. And like I said, this doesn't just stand in the network marketing industry, this stands with anything else. Does a shift come with a change? That's what it means. Yes, it absolutely does. But if it's something that's going to maybe bring you joy, and that you can recognize some of the things that you no longer can control, that are out of your control, that are not being listened to, and maybe you've brought some of the situations to whoever you needed to bring them to, and you have mentioned it, and it's, and maybe it's falling on deaf ears. That's the scenario that's like, okay, well, you can only control what you can control, right? So when we can only control what we can control, which is truly us and our reactions to things, what else can you do, right? You can shift, and you don't have to stay somewhere that you're not happy and you're thriving. And I think that's a lot of the times you see people just stay. They just stay because they feel like they have to stay, right? Or what they do is they lessen their dreams, right? And they change the goals. And I think that is a mistake. And I say it boldly, because we should never dampen our light, and we should never give up on our dreams or lessen our dreams because of how something has made us feel, or because we feel like we have to stay in a situation because we need to be a certain way and looked at a certain way. It takes courage to make a shift. It takes a lot of courage to make a shift. And I know, because I just made a really big shift, but I can tell you, if you are happier, if you become excited again and motivated again, and you all of a sudden start to dust those big dreams off again and realize, gosh, I may not have been the big part of the problem. I may have just, dampened down a few things. And when you can come out of that and say, okay, what can I control? What are the other factors that are coming with these feelings, right? And have I communicated them, and what's being done about it, right? When you can say all those things, and if the best thing for you to do is to shift, then it's okay to shift, because guess what? Yes, it's gonna it's gonna rock you inside for a minute. You might have that, oh my gosh, what did I just do moment? But you are going to survive. And honestly, God puts things on your heart for a reason. God makes you feel the way that you feel for a reason. You're not meant to sit and be comfortable. And I heard an amazing sermon this last Sunday that really talked about, we often want to be comfortable for us, but us being comfortable and ignoring different things is not necessarily great for the person that we're meant to serve, right? We're meant to be inconvenienced. We're meant to be uncomfortable. We're meant to continue to grow, to serve other people. So yes, as much as, people can sit and stay in a situation and deal with it, right? There's the air quotations, and just deal with it. And I'm comfortable, so I'm just going to put up with it. That's not serving you. And it's not serving the people that truly are looking for you to help them. And so I loved this sermon. He talked a lot about like him on an airplane, and we've all been on airplanes, right? Where you go and you're like, oh my gosh, I pray that that person doesn't sit next to me. Oh my gosh, no, no, no. Or sometimes you'll move the leg over on the extra seat just to span yourself out. You'll put your bag down there, whatever, right? Because it's like, oh, I don't really want to talk, or oh my gosh, this person, whatever it might be. And sure enough, like they sit down next to you and you're just like, oh my gosh, right? And then you're going, wow, this is great, right? Maybe you try to ignore them, maybe you try to just whatever, and then say they start sparking up a conversation with you, and you're, what if that person needed what you have to offer? And he happened to be a pastor, so he really just started talking about those kinds of things, but it was just one of those things where it's like, you are meant to serve people. You are meant to serve somebody. You're not meant to just serve yourself. And so if you can be a lighthouse for other people, to guide them, to be an inconvenience, but in a sense, it's actually servanthood, and it's serving other people. That is powerful. And that is a purpose, right? That's a purpose, is to be an inconvenience to yourself and to be on mission. Because like I said, like in my own personal life, and maybe this is getting to be a bit much, but God has definitely made us uncomfortable in situations to really lean on him to say, okay, I'm going to walk in this. I'm going to face this. It's not comfortable. I don't enjoy any of what I'm going through right now. But I'm going to walk on faith. I'm going to have faith. I'm going to trust in the direction that I'm being led, even though it makes me uncomfortable. Right. And so that, I think, is really powerful when you can lean into that, because then you're growing inside, you're meant for more, that you are moving in the right direction of actually helping people, as opposed to just staying and dealing with the emotions of, gosh, what's wrong with me? I guess I'm just going to deal with this. I used to be this motivated. I'm not anymore, but I'm just going to deal with it because I make a decent check. I feel like I'm not good enough, that I'm not being seen, that I'm not being valued, but you know what? I'm just going to stay here because I make a good check, and I'm, and that kind of thing. So I want you to evaluate the power of a shift when you have done all you can do. And so if you're listening now, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling like you're not enough, if you're feeling like you've lost some of your motivation, if you feel like I used to this, but I'm still going through the motions, I'm still doing the work, but I'm not getting my same results, and it's beating me down. If that is you, do these steps, pull yourself back, look at the entirety of the situation, go through the steps of saying, okay, have I communicated these things? Am I doing what I think I can do? Like, go through those things and just know that you can shift at any time that you want, because you have to do what is going to allow you to be happy and to show up and serve other people in the light that you're meant to be seen. And when you are not motivated, when you think there's something wrong with you, when you feel like you are beat down and not being valued, how do you think you show up? Right? We don't show up like we should. We don't show up joyful and walking in power, right? We don't. We show up as like, gosh, I hope people hear me. I hope people listen to me. I don't know. Maybe some people this, maybe some people that. I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to pick up pieces, right? So just know, like, you can shift at any time that you want. And know it's going to take growth, but that's what you're here for, right? We're here to grow, to get better, to become a better leader, to be able to serve more people. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk with you guys today. It was on my heart. And again, I appreciate all of you guys for listening. Make sure that you catch us at risewithtenacity.com. We also have Pinterest. We are on YouTube. If you love this episode, share it with somebody, make a comment, reach out to me. If you have questions about anything, I'm here to listen. I'm here to help you walk through this process, because it's not an easy process. And I know that just because I just went through a massive, massive shift because of these things. And that's why I wanted to bring this to you guys today. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Until next week, we will see you. Make it great. Go be tenacious and do something awesome with yourself. Talk to you later. Bye.